But the real story that continues to brew today is Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's treatment of Alberta Premier Danielle Smith when all of the premiers got together to hear Trudeau's proposal on healthcare. I've got a lot to say about that, but I really want to talk about what happened on Tuesday when Justin Trudeau shook hands, sort of, with Danielle Smith. It was obvious Smith was hesitant to shake hands with Trudeau. This is her primary political opponent, her ideological adversary, and Smith was not comfortable being with Trudeau. A lot of women aren't comfortable with being with Trudeau, as we've seen over the years. And I think what he demonstrated with Danielle Smith is part of a trend that Trudeau is very contemptuous of female politicians, even though he calls himself this proto-feminist politician, the wave of things to come. He certainly has not demonstrated much of that in real life towards political women, including a Liberal MP in his own caucus who resigned years ago and said that Trudeau routinely yelled at her. And we remember the treatment of an NDP MP. He elbowed. And he had his thumb on Danielle Smith's hand, and he was squeezing so hard that he actually left his thumb imprint on her hand. Now, that is absolutely disgusting kind of behavior. And here he is smiling and hamming it up for the cameras as usual. And by his actions, he's showing contempt that approaches abuse towards the Premier of Alberta. It's quite clear he is not comfortable with Danielle Smith in the way he talks and the way he deals with her, but he can't be honest about that, can he? He has to pretend. He's the actor to the end. He is the actor to the end. And that is what Justin Trudeau is all about. Danielle Smith, to her credit, did not feign happiness to be in the great one's presence. She looked very uncomfortable, and she was very uncomfortable. So what I said in my column, you know how a picture can say 1,000 words? Well, it not only shows Trudeau's contempt for Danielle Smith, it shows Trudeau's contempt for Alberta and how he likes to keep his thumb on Alberta, and he likes to squeeze Alberta for all it's worth. Now, Trudeau is going on and on about, he wants to find common ground with Alberta on energy issues. But of course, that's impossible when you have a person like Justin Trudeau who's committed to green energy to the point of dismantling the energy sector in Canada, the oil and gas industry. He wants to destroy the fossil fuel industry because he believes it's contributing to greenhouse gases, which are creating the climate change crisis, which is going to lead towards the end of the world in a decade. All of this is nonsense. The world is not going to end in 10 years. There is no climate change crisis to that point. And I think rational people understand that. If we go to a green energy program, the way Justin Trudeau describes it in his so-called just transition, I call it the Justin transition, we are going to be a society living in the cold and dark, especially in this month of February, where it's very cold. Actually warmed up here in Ottawa, but last week, we were down to minus 30 with a wind chill of minus 40. Try doing that without fossil fuels. And we know we're not going to have electric cars overnight because it's virtually impossible to get enough of these minerals, including cobalt, that you need to power the battery. And we're using child labor. And I shouldn't say we, but China is using child labor to extract these minerals from the ground. It's just absolutely appalling. But once again, people like Justin Trudeau just brush this off as if it's not a big deal. And of course, it's a very big deal. And it's something I think that Trudeau has got to come to terms with, but he won't.